You may not feel it right away, but some drinks quietly take a toll on your heart. Today, I want to walk you through the 5 types of alcohol that can harm your heart over time and offer gentle, simple swaps you can try. Because you deserve to feel cared for every single day. Let's start with one that often flies under the radar: sweet liqueurs and flavored cordials. They feel gentle, familiar, and comforting, like a dessert in a glass. But the truth is, these drinks pack a double punch. You've got the alcohol, which your heart already works hard to manage, but then you add sugar, often a heavy dose, and suddenly your body's balancing act becomes a whole lot trickier. After 60, your metabolism naturally slows. Your blood vessels may be stiffer, and your heart doesn't bounce back from stress like it once did. Add the sugar and alcohol together, and you're asking your cardiovascular system to juggle more than it comfortably can. The result? You may not notice anything right away, just a bit more tired after walking. Maybe your heart beats a little funny now and then. But these are not small things, they're signals. I've seen this happen with people I care about. One of my patients, Mary Davenport from Vermont, age 74, was active and spirited. She lived alone, but kept a busy life, tending her garden, taking a local yoga class, and always showing up with a smile. Every Friday night, she treated herself to a small glass of cherry liqueur. "It's just a touch of sweetness," she'd say. "My little moment of joy." But after a few months, Mary started noticing breathlessness when climbing stairs, and her energy dipped noticeably. We ran some tests, and her EKG showed early signs of atrial flutter. Nothing severe yet, but enough to worry her. When we walked through her habits, that weekly liqueur stood out. She was shocked. It had never crossed her mind that it could be part of the problem. Another time I worked with Mr. Daniel Lucas, 77, from Ohio. He didn't drink much, he'd tell you that himself, but every Christmas he made his family recipe for eggnog. He used heavy cream, sugar, and just a splash of rum. It felt nostalgic, harmless. That winter, after a few family dinners, he ended up in the ER with fluid retention and palpitations. The doctors traced it back to cardiac overload, and we agreed, no more holiday cocktails. The following year, he brought a spiced almond milk drink to the party instead. Still festive, still delicious and safe for his heart. "I didn't even miss the rum," he said with a grin. One of the easiest ways to protect your heart is by making thoughtful swaps, not harsh restrictions. If you find comfort in a nightly ritual, try replacing your liqueur with a warm herbal tea, maybe cinnamon, dried cherry, or even lavender with a little milk and honey. Or make fruit-infused water with a few apple slices and a cinnamon stick for a touch of flavor without the sugar or alcohol. These little shifts might seem small, but over time, they lighten the load on your heart and help you feel steadier, clearer, and more energized. Your heart is like a quiet companion. It doesn't ask for much, but it notices everything. It carries you through every day, every walk, every memory made. You don't need to give up joy to protect it. You just need to listen gently. Even one small change in your routine can ripple outward in the most beautiful way. And I believe you can do that. You already have, just by being here. Now let me bring up another hidden risk that often gets overlooked: alcoholic drinks mixed with soda or energy beverages. On the surface, they might seem like a fun, harmless way to enjoy a casual drink. A splash of cola with rum, or maybe a vodka and citrus soda. It doesn't sound like much, but for older adults, these kinds of combinations are especially tough on the heart. The sugary carbonation causes rapid spikes in blood sugar and blood pressure. Add alcohol, and your nervous system gets pulled in 2 directions, stimulated by the sugar and caffeine, and depressed by the alcohol. The result can be erratic heart rhythms, sudden dizziness, and increased strain on your already hard-working cardiovascular system. At 60 and beyond, your heart needs rhythm, not roller coasters. These types of drinks create a perfect storm of pressure and confusion for your body. And the hard part is, it's easy not to notice the effects until they build up slowly over time. I remember one gentleman, Robert Gaines, 74, from a quiet town in Nevada. He told me, "I only drink socially, Doc, just a rum and coke now, and then when I play cards with the guys." But a few times after those evenings, He started getting lightheaded and feeling his heart flutter. It got so concerning that he ended up in the ER after nearly fainting at the grocery store. Tests showed signs of atrial fibrillation. When we went through his habits, the cola-based drinks stood out. It turns out that simple mix of caffeine, sugar, and alcohol was more than his system could handle. Another case I'll never forget was with a woman named Eileen Jacobs, 76, from Indiana. She was vibrant and loved hosting small get-togethers. Her favorite cocktail? A splash of vodka with lemon soda. She believed it was a light choice, better than beer or wine. But after months of frequent headaches and spikes in blood pressure, her doctor traced the issue back to her drinking habits. Once she swapped her drink for sparkling water with lemon and mint, the difference was remarkable. Her blood pressure stabilized and the headaches faded. She even told me later, "I didn't realize how foggy I was feeling until it cleared." What often helps in these situations is choosing beverages that refresh without the crash. If you're used to sipping something fizzy, try chilled herbal teas poured over ice, or carbonated water with a slice of grapefruit or cucumber. These give you the same sense of refreshment without the caffeine or sugar spikes. And if you're at a gathering, bring your own bottle. It's a small act of care that makes a big difference. Think of your heart like a gentle metronome. It wants to keep a steady beat. Every choice you make is like a note in a song, and when you choose calm over chaos, the music of your life flows more smoothly. Even if you've had the same habits for decades, change is always possible. You're not starting from scratch. You're building on wisdom. Let me talk about something that many people consider completely harmless: beer. Light beer, craft beer, or even non-alcoholic varieties with a low alcohol percentage often feel like the safer choice, especially after retirement. You might hear someone say it's just a cold one after yard work, or just one with dinner, but the truth is, even moderate beer consumption can quietly work against your heart health, particularly after 60. Beer tends to be high in carbohydrates and sodium, and it contains substances called phytoestrogens that can interfere with hormonal balance. These factors contribute to fluid retention, elevated blood pressure, and added strain on the heart. For older adults, who may already be managing high blood pressure or weakened heart function, this additional stress can be subtle but significant. Over time, that nightly habit can slowly make the heart's job harder, without loud symptoms, but with lasting effects. One man who really brought this home for me was Thomas Granger, 68, from Michigan. He was easygoing, a retired postman who enjoyed his backyard, sports radio, and his one bottle of light beer every evening. "I've earned this," he would tell me with a smile. For years, nothing seemed out of the ordinary, but then the swelling in his legs began. First, just a little puffiness in the ankles, then it became harder to get his shoes on. He noticed he was more tired during his walks. A routine checkup revealed early-stage heart failure. His sodium levels were high, and his doctor believed his daily beer habit played a part. Cutting it out helped reduce the swelling and improved his energy. And then there was Gloria Hart, 72, from Kansas, who loved spending time at her local senior center. Friday night bingo always came with shared snacks and beer. "It's social," she'd say. "I don't even finish the whole can." But over several months, she started feeling flushed and noticed her blood pressure creeping up. Her doctor discovered that even half a beer a few times a week was contributing to fluid retention and throwing off her medication. Gloria switched to sparkling water with lime, and it made a clear difference. She still went to bingo, still enjoyed the company, just with a lighter step and a more comfortable heart. One of the simplest shifts you can make is replacing beer with a drink that supports hydration and doesn't strain your system. Try herbal infusions, like hibiscus, which may even help lower blood pressure, or just cold water with a few slices of orange and mint. You still get that refreshing feeling, but your heart isn't paying the price afterward. And when you're out socializing, having your own heart-friendly drink in hand can be a quiet way of honoring your health. Your habits are part of your story, but they don't have to define your future. Like a garden, your body changes with the seasons. What once felt nourishing might not serve you now, and that's okay. Letting go of one thing can make space for something better. You're not giving something up, you're choosing something wiser. Here's something I hear a lot from older adults, especially in colder months. Just a little nip to warm up. Whether it's brandy, whiskey, or bourbon, there's a long-standing belief that a shot of something strong gets the blood flowing and keeps the chill away. And I understand that. It's tied to memories, routines, even comfort. But the truth is, strong alcohol doesn't warm you in the way you think. It tricks your body. It makes blood vessels expand temporarily, causing a feeling of warmth on the skin. But inside, it actually lowers your core temperature. What's more, that quick expansion and then sudden tightening of blood vessels can be hard on the heart, especially if you're over 60 and dealing with reduced elasticity in the arteries or existing cardiovascular concerns. Your heart doesn't need these sudden swings. It needs consistency, calmness, and steady rhythm. A quick shot to feel better can sometimes lead to a fall, a fainting spell, or a spike in heart rate that you don't see coming. Henry Lawson, 71, from Pennsylvania, comes to mind when I talk about this. A retired mechanic, he used to carry a little metal flask in his coat filled with whiskey. Just for the cold mornings, he told me. One icy day he slipped on his porch and fell hard. At the hospital they realized his blood pressure had dropped suddenly, and the alcohol may have contributed. He wasn't drunk, just slightly off balance. That fall led to a broken wrist and weeks of recovery. After that, Henry gave up the flask and started keeping a thermos of warm ginger tea instead. It's not the same, he said with a laugh, but I don't fall over anymore. Then there's Evelyn Brooks, 75, from Colorado, who used to take a shot of brandy before bed in winter. It helped her relax and warm up. But over time, she began experiencing irregular heartbeats at night and trouble sleeping. Her doctor suspected the alcohol was disrupting her natural rhythm. Evelyn switched to warm milk with cinnamon and honey. Not only did her sleep improve, but she also stopped waking up with that heavy, foggy feeling. She told me, "I never thought something so small could matter so much. What I've found helpful for many folks is building a new evening ritual. Try wrapping yourself in a soft blanket, wearing warm socks, and sipping something gentle like chamomile or rooibos tea. You can add a little cinnamon or even a slice of orange for that cozy feeling. If you miss the flavor of something stronger, there are alcohol-free options now that mimic the taste of spirits, just without the cardiovascular strain. Think of your heart like a fireplace. It doesn't need a sudden flare. It needs steady warmth, something that lasts through the night. Every small shift you make is a log on that fire, helping it burn more evenly and more safely. You deserve warmth, comfort, and peace, but in a way that supports your body, not surprises it. Let your new rituals be an act of quiet care." There's one more category of drink I'd like to gently bring to your attention: homemade alcohol. I'm talking about those mason jars filled with fruit-soaked vodka, the herbal tinctures your neighbor swears by, just a sip of strong homemade wine or backyard moonshine. It's familiar, often shared with love, tied to tradition. But here's the problem. With homemade alcohol, you never quite know what you're getting. The alcohol content isn't labeled, the sugar levels can be sky high, and some batches may even contain harmful byproducts like methanol or fusel oils. For someone in their 60s or beyond, whose liver and kidneys are no longer processing substances as efficiently, that unpredictability can be risky. Even just a small amount of unregulated alcohol can disrupt heart rhythm, elevate blood pressure, or cause lightheadedness and falls. And because it's home-brewed, many people assume it's natural and therefore safe. But natural doesn't always mean gentle. Margaret Hale, 75, from Texas, used to make her own cranberry liqueur every winter. Just for gifts, she said, though she kept a bottle for herself and would sip it slowly in the evenings. Over time, Margaret began to experience headaches, trouble sleeping, and a racing heartbeat. At first, she thought it was just part of getting older, but after a visit to her cardiologist and a conversation about her nightly habit, she was encouraged to stop. Within 2 weeks, her symptoms began to ease. She later told me she never realized her body was working so hard behind the scenes to process that innocent glass. I also think of Marvin Jones, 78, from Georgia. A quiet man with a generous smile, he'd made dandelion wine every spring for decades. It was a ritual that reminded him of his parents, but in recent years Marvin started getting dizzy spells and tightness in his chest. His doctor found signs of early arrhythmia. Marvin didn't connect the dots at first because it was just a little homemade wine. When he stopped drinking it and switched to fruit-infused teas, those episodes became less frequent. He didn't stop making his wine. He just started giving it away instead of drinking it himself. "Now I keep the tradition," he said, "just without the toll." One of the simplest and safest ways to hold on to the comfort of a familiar flavor is by preparing a warm drink with heart-friendly ingredients. Try simmering apple juice with cinnamon sticks, a clove or two, and a splash of lemon, your own version of a mulled cider without the alcohol. Or brew a batch of hibiscus tea and chill it with sliced strawberries for a beautiful ruby red refresher. It's not about losing something. It's about keeping the memory, the ritual, and the care, just in a way that loves your heart back. Our bodies whisper before they shout. That glass of homemade something might seem harmless, but your heart knows the truth. You've already been through so many seasons, built so many memories. Why not give your heart the easiest road forward? You are not letting go of joy. You are choosing a kind of joy that lets you stay steady, stay clear, and stay well. If something in this video felt useful, I'd love for you to share it in the comments. Subscribe for more heart-wise tips made just for you. You're not alone on this path. You are stronger than you think, and life still holds so much beauty when you walk with it hand in hand.